So tonight, I don't know why, I just randomly decided to stalk my ex to see what he's been up to lately. I blocked him on Instagram, so I had to literally use my other account to stalk him. And then I found out this picture of him and this girl. And then, yeah, they're definitely dating. And then I thought I'm like completely like done with him, but it just hit me so hard.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
Well, I certainly know why you were stalking your ex. Let me paint a picture for you. It was Friday night, and you were sitting strongly and independently in that apartment that you paid for with your own money because you don't need no man, with a chilled glass of the finest vintage of boxed wines, when you were hit with the realization that your life is an empty, meaningless husk because you don't have a man. Because you're over the age of 30 and most self-respecting men want nothing to do with you, you drunkenly decided the smartest idea was to stalk your ex-boyfriend on Instagram, clinging on to the slightest of hopes that that man was more pathetically lonely and desperate than you, only to find out that he found himself with a younger, more agreeable and attractive woman. And because deep down you knew you couldn't take this woman on in a cat fight, you decided to log on to the internet to complain for the rest of the world to hear. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate am I?
10.
And I'm devastated. Like right now I'm just so sad, and I don't understand how he could just like move on so fast. It's only been 3 or 4 months like after our breakup, and I'm still grieving over here, and then he just like completely moved on with someone new, like to start this like full-on relationship.
What we got here is a little game of show and tell. You don't want to show me nothing, but you tell me everything.
Oh, okay, so he broke up with you. You didn't take the breakup very well, so you blocked him on Instagram, only to use a dummy account to stalk him 3 months later so you could get a feel for the land in an attempt to beg him to take you back. But if he moved on that quickly, that means it was a bad relationship. Your vain attempt to weasel back into his life leads me to believe that the relationship failed because you were either too controlling, too argumentative, or emasculating. Either way, he found himself a woman who would treat him with some dignity. It's kind of a small thing that men require in a relationship. I tell you to look into that, but let's face it, the odds of you getting into another one of those relationships are pretty much nil at this point.
Oh, this is just so shocking. I mean, I must just be so monumentally naive.
You are.
And then, which makes me doubt myself, which makes me comparing myself to the girl, like, why did he choose her instead of me? And it really also got me thinking, were they a thing while we were still dating? Like, how long has this been going on? I don't know. This fucking sucks. Breakup sucks.
Nobody cares what you think.
To all of those certified gentlemen and official gents out there, I pose you a question. How much you want to bet that she is guilty of doing the exact same thing her ex-boyfriend did to her? There's a slew of modern women out there who will be in a brand new relationship months after breaking up with a guy. And when they do it, it's considered empowering. And if it's only a few months after the breakup, that's just because life is too short to spend it alone. But if a man finds a nice lady after a breakup, it's essentially considered a form of cheating despite the fact that they've broken up. And if it's after a few months, it's considered too soon. Which just goes to show that if you're infuriating a modern woman with your social media post, then you are doing something right.
Indeed!
Men, tradies, anyone that knows what the fuck this is? Because I thought this was a goddamn drill, but it is not. What the what?
Maybe I'm wrong on this one, but as an intergalactic bounty hunter, I've always been under the assumption that if you're going to build a bookshelf, you probably shouldn't be wearing a face full of intergalactic grade makeup and wearing a choker made out of fake pearls. But by watching this, I have no idea if she's trolling the entire internet or if her brain is truly made out of industrial grade hair conditioner. Either way, it wouldn't really surprise me in the slightest. If that is a brand new drill, did she not read the instruction manual? Does she even know how to read? Is she hoping that the bookshelf will magically turn into a rugged carpenter if she screws it correctly? Because I don't think that's how it works.
So I'm trying to build my goddamn shelves, and like, usually there's a screwdriver on the end, and you just put it in the little cracks, and it works. But this is like a magnet one. And like, I don't think there's any other device in my household. I've never seen this before.
As I watch her struggle with the basic application of a hand drill, I can't help but hope that the men of the internet, in one way or another, all agreed not to tell her how to operate said drill properly, if for any reason, just to see how long it takes for her to figure it out. Because this is the type of woman who goes on and on about how men are useless, about how men are trash, and how we don't need men to operate the society. And even though she owns her own car, pays her own bills, and orders her own DoorDash, her first instinct when she can't figure out a basic hand drill is to reach out to the men on the internet for help. The depressing part is that there will always be a simp out there who will swoop in and give ample instructions on how to operate that drill. Because in the back of his mind, if he swoops in and heroically helps her out, then she will allow him to interact with her hollowed out grease pit of incessant emptiness. But as we all know, she's just gonna tell him to subscribe to her OnlyFans. And he most likely will.
It usually just always has the thing, but it doesn't, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Or like, not that I'm doing wrong. What? Cause like, look. When you put it in the... It just doesn't work! So men, please help. What do I do?
Because, Charlie, she's a nitwit.
I have to admit, it's kind of hilarious how modern women take a look at the skills and trades that men use and think that anybody could do them. But when given the opportunity, they will always seem to stick to the easiest and simplest of tasks, and yet they still figure out a way to completely screw it up. And I'll admit, I kind of cringe at the idea of seeing a woman try and install a septic tank in a house completely designed by women, but at the same time, I can't help but be fascinated because we all know that particular house is going to fail in ways none of us could ever possibly imagine. And as those Instagram models are standing there covered in their own feces, humiliated in front of the entire planet, they will still figure out a way to blame the men.
Ew, what a mess. Ew, ew, ew.
You're not gonna find the love of your life in a club popping a bottle.
Absolutely not.
Unless you're giving me a slice of pizza, I don't want to hear it.
The love of your life could be right in front of you, feeding you pizza, and you wouldn't even know it.
Yeah, you wouldn't even know it.
Oh, you know what I want? A healed man.
F you! I will think of you as I throw up into the toilet.
Here's a question for you, woman. Why do you even want a healed man? What good is it gonna do you? Healing requires years of painful self-reflection and growth. It takes a gargantuan amount of work to be able to get to the point where you can make peace with that kind of a past. And you're not even willing to put in the work to get out of bed before 10 a.m. You think a healed man will never hurt you, but the reality is you're just gonna hurt yourself by cheating, getting drunk all the time, and just being generally unpleasant to be around. But here's the thing about healed men. They're not gonna want anything to do with you, simply because when men are able to achieve that kind of peace, it's going to take a lot more than the disease-ridden tale of a hot yogurt-guzzling gremlin like you to make him give it up.
Well,
Shut up!
What's
Shut
your
up!
Instagram? No, what's your Instagram?
He looks like a nice guy.
Whoa.
Nice guy.
Whoa. Whoa.
Would you date him?
I don't
Why
make
not?
enough money for it.
How the f do you know that I like money?
I can tell. I'll tell you,
You
this
ain't
right
wrong.
now. I'll tell you.
You ain't wrong.
Boy, there's no real easy way to say this, but, look, you're a simp.
Dude, I have to ask you a serious question. What in the name of the effervescent salvation of the intergalactic space god Globochart, all hail, were you thinking wasting a perfectly good slice of pizza on a woman like that? Come on, dude. Pizza is practically currency on most college campuses. That's the equivalent of giving her a crisp $20 bill. Then to beg for her Instagram while she tried to give you the world's worst impression of sweet chin music? Come on, man. You know you're better than that. Under no circumstances should any man be disrespected by a woman, especially by a harlot such as herself. So I hope you learned a valuable lesson, sir. There is no sense wasting perfectly good pizza on common street trash.
Why are we all so messed up? Why? Why are we so fucked in the brains? How come when someone says like, I like you, but I can't be with you right now, why do we want to be with them 10 times more?
The short explanation is because you're damaged goods. The long explanation is because nobody has ever told you no in life, and because you're not used to rejection, you straight up demand the things you're not allowed to have. When this guy said, I like you but can't be with you right now, what he's really saying is, Doing the horizontal mambo with you was alright, but there's no future with you because you're too much of a pain in the ass to deal with on a permanent basis. You found this man to be ideal breeding stock because your womb is a ticking time bomb of eternal regret. You wanted this man to commit to you so he'd agree to pump a baby into your uterus. Considering that your tattoos are a screaming red flag of your impulsive nature, I think it's safe to assume that he made the wise decision to pass.
Remember, your biological clock is ticking.
Like, aren't you supposed to want someone that wants you? So like, is it the chase? Do we like the chase? Like, what? Why? Who taught us this? What went wrong in our childhoods?
That is the question of the night.
Actually, it's quite the opposite. You want someone who doesn't want you because in your deluded mind, you have convinced yourself that all men want you, even when they've made it abundantly clear to the contrary. You then try to fool yourself into thinking that the men who say they don't want you merely want to chase you. This is despite the fact that the chase isn't a thing. Men don't naturally chase. It takes too much work for too little payoff. And you would understand this if you weren't such a dull human being with such an empty skull. Because if I had to venture a guess with what went wrong in your childhood, I need not look past the blank expression on your face to know that your childhood reeked of disappointment and unrelenting daddy issues. For today's video, gentlemen and gents, as always, if you find that my particular brand of humor is bringing you to the brink of laughter, then why don't you scroll on down and click that like and subscribe button and ring the notification bell so we can give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for checking out the new video, and until next time, peace out, homies.